Hello guys and welcome back to another episode of the RSS career mode, where we do the real progression 0 career mode for the rotating solar system. So yeah, episode 3 already, so we're kind of pouncing through it, so that's always nice. Anyway, for I guess the first launch of the episode, which we're going to be seeing in just a second, it is right here. It's a very big mission for our space program. As you can see, it is the Jebediah who sat in the seat. This is the SS-1 rocket, this spaceship one, as because back in the day they didn't call it spacecrafts or anything, they called it space ships. And off we go, revving that engine. I don't know why I'm saying revving that engine, obviously you're not revving it. Anyway, we get off to initially a very nice launch, and yeah, as you can see, also I've got six SRBs on that cockpit, so there is actually also a launch escape system, so if anything were to go wrong, or if I lost control, I could save Jeb no matter what, or hopefully I could. That was kind of the plan. Anyway, as we are ascending here through the atmosphere, everything is actually going really smoothly. I was holding back with this mission for a long time because I didn't expect it to be very easy, because obviously you can die from from getting too much G's in the cockpit, or Jebediah could, we couldn't, obviously. Yeah, and at this moment we only had nearly 5 science, as you can see in the top right there, so we needed to do something drastic. As you can see, Jebediah is looking down on Earth there, being the first guy ever to go into space. He's actually not in space yet, but he has crossed the Kármán line, which categorizes you as being in space, although you aren't really. It's really weird. Anyway, he is going to peek through the atmosphere in 1 kilometer. There you go, he's in space. He actually went 11 kilometers above space, and I forgot to do science. That's always nice when you do that. So I decided to do some more science when we get on the into the upper atmosphere. I don't know if it wanted to if that gives more science or anything, but we'll just launch another one. Obviously we're not over with this program yet. As Jebediah is descending through the atmosphere, as nice as you like, no problem so far. And yeah, we're experiencing some G's. We're up at 5 G's, 7 G's, 10 G's. Oh, we just peaked at probably 11.5 G's there. Jebediah. That was actually nearly the same as Alan Shepard did in his first flight, so I guess we did it kind of alright without doing it wrong, I guess. As we're coming down in the atmosphere, or down to the water here, descending, we've got about 200 meters before the mission has succeeded, and yeah, we're gonna splash down in just a second. Boom, there we go. And that is a successful mission. We now live in a world where we have put men into space, or actually I guess it's just a man so far, but we have the ability to put men into space. So I thought we'll just do another one, and I can't really see what it says, but I'm quite sure it says Jebediah down the bottom there, because obviously we've got to do the science from space. So I decided to launch another one of the SS, and this actually looked a bit better on Delta V stats. I think it definitely accelerated a bit faster, I think, but I'm not too sure on that. As we are now ascending, I'm looking from the cockpit view here, don't know why, I just like how it looks, I guess. But yeah, as you can see, ascending here, just as fine as the last one, if not even nicer, to be fair. And if you're asking if I ever have used the launch escape system, no, but I have simulated it, and it does work. I think it can pull it has a thrust to weight ratio about 4 to 5. I'm not quite sure. It can definitely wrench away from the vehicle, but unfortunately it does it in a straight line, so I have to kind of adjust it on the way with the RCS thrusters, which is obviously not the most optimal. As we now go into space and we do our science here, obviously as you want to, preparing to finally go back, and I will actually use the launch escape system there to probably make it for a nicer descent here with a lot less G, hopefully, because obviously we don't have that extra velocity that we now have to shred off. Now it's just not there. So let's look at the geometer. That's 1 G, 2 G, 3 G, 4 G, 5 G. Oh Jesus Christ! We only did like half a G less, so that was just some money spent there for absolutely no reason. It's alright because SRBs don't cost anything anyway. They're also really easy to make in real life, so no problems there. As we're now descending to the water again, splash down and boom. That was a good launch. So now we're just looking up for the next launch, which yeah, it's actually kind of nice to have now started our manned space program as well. That's really cool, actually. But anyway, here we are off for the launch of the L1 rocket. Yes, you can probably hear it. I had to just call it the L1 because if you know the N1 rocket the Russians made. And then now I can finally not bring... Okay, let's listen to this launch. So much power in this damn rocket. Anyway, I just had to call it the L1 because if you know the Russians, they made the N1 rocket. And also now that I'm not actually playing the Kerbal game anymore and I'm actually playing RSS, I can finally call it the Luna, not the Moona. So I just had to take advantage of that. Anyway, this is our first ever launch towards the moon. Obviously having no experience, we're going in kind of blinded, not really sure what to do, as we are gonna lose those boosters in just a minute here. There you go. And they do kind of a career left cross there, I think. It definitely looked like it as well. So yeah, this rocket is very compatible. It can do quite a lot of stuff. As you can see, here we have got two of the, now I can't remember, but I think it's the LR-79 rockets or something, like 97 or something, I can't even remember. And then we go on to another pair of that. Just this time it's only one, so it has got quite a high thrust to weight ratio, so we have to just kind of point a lot more down, which we lose. Well, we lose a bit of delta V, I have to be honest, but at the same time we don't really need that extra delta V. We just need that delta V to get us into orbit, and then the next stage, as you can see, is supposed to be able to power us to the moon. So there you go, we are into orbit. We are now on to the third stage, if you don't count the boosters as well. And now that we have finally updated mission control, we now are being able to actually get encounters with the moon without just having to eyeball it. Now we can actually do it precisely. So yeah, just adjusting a bit here, don't want to use too much. So we have a contract where it says we need to do we need to get around the moon, which is just standard one there always is, where we need to get under 5 million kilometers, and we have to do science there. Now, as I said, we went in quite blindly to this mission, not really having any experience whatsoever. You're gonna experience that and see what mistake I did in on this one. I am not saying if it makes it or not, because that I will leave that to you. If you can see in the top right, the electric charge, it's always have already gone down a considerable amount. As you can see, I kind of did the wrong probe body without thinking about it, because it's really the only one that I've used so far, which is far from optimal. And I'm gonna have to be looking to change that in the future, obviously after this mission. So right now we're just crossing our fingers that it can last until we get to the moon, so we can do those all important science experiments. That was what I was hoping for at this minute. I knew that I was kind of low on electric charge and I didn't have any solar panels, so I was just hoping right now. Anyway, as we are getting even closer, we do another burn here just to adjust our course. Go onto that hydrazine engine, which I can't remember what it's called. It's just a 1 kilonewton engine, that's what it's called. How could I forget that? Anyway, we are also able to steer this, this probe, which is very nice. Now adjusting our course to get in a little bit closer to the moon. As you can see there, it is quite buggy. Anyway, we get it beneath 5 million kilometers, so everything looking really nicely. As we're going out the electric charge, as you can see, it drains the batteries completely, that probe core. So unfortunately, it will not last until the moon. If you've got common sense, you will see that it can't last. But it has enough delta V to get into orbit. So in the future, if we get solar panels, this exact rocket or probe might actually be able to be the first lunar orbital lunar probe that we ever sent to the moon, which would be kind of nice. Anyway, we are coming closer to the moon. Obviously we are destined to get to the moon, and that is the destination, but we haven't got enough electric charge to control anything or do anything there, unfortunately, which is really the purpose of the mission and the purpose of the contract. So we won't fulfill the contract, but we will get to look at the moon, which looks very nicely here, and we will get on the right side of it as well, so that is quite nice. Obviously now it's really dark because we're on the back side, or on the far side, or whatever you want to say. There is the moon, really really close, and it looks completely nice. I actually didn't think the textures would be this nice on RSS, but it really really is. As you can see, we had enough delta V to go into an elliptical orbit there, but it just didn't happen. Nice English, man. Anyway, now off to the launch of the L2 rocket. This rocket has got about the same amount of delta V, but I think I've added solar panels this time to make the batteries last longer if we were lucky. I think that's what I did. I can't really remember too sure. I know that no, I won't spoil it. I'm really bad at not spoiling stuff. But anyway, we launched the L2 rocket here, still sticking to the orange paint scheme. Obviously it is not, because it's a cryogenic tank. We haven't got that yet, but it is it's just orange because I like the way orange look, and it kind of sticks to the Danish space culture. If you know who Copenhagen Suborbitals is, I kind of like the way those orange tanks look and orange rockets look. So yeah, anyway, doing the Korolev cross there again, looking really nicely. Well, I know it's not actually a realistic Korolev cross, it just looks like it, so bear with me if I keep on saying that. Anyway, if you can see our relative inclination there, it's about 1.2%. I didn't say percent, guys. I did not say percent. I meant degrees. And we're even adjusting it better even more. We're getting down to 1.13 degrees at this moment as we go into the second stage, third stage, whatever you want to call it, which is going to be powering us into orbit. This stage, as you can see right here, it's actually capable of doing quite a lot of stuff because it has got quite a lot of excess delta V. So when we get into, if we ever have to point away from the delta V vector, there's not really any problem with that because it's just got that extra amount of delta V. Anyway, as we go on to the second stage here, we go onto it as, actually I think I cut the first engine out a bit too early, which led me to having to use the second stage right there, which it's not really too big of a problem. Anyway, this time we're getting really close to the moon. We get an encounter of about, I think it said 2 million there, I'm not too sure. Anyway guys, when you watch on YouTube, you will see the quality way better than I do when I commentate over this. I only watch it at 480 pixels, I want to say, which is far from optimal. Obviously I really can't see any of the numbers in the delta V stats. I can only just sense what it says. I'm quite sure it says about 2200 in the top left of this stage. I'm not too sure. Anyway, as we're getting into the moon here, just adjusting my course. I didn't actually watch the probe this time. This might actually be I was about to spoil something again. Anyway, yeah, this is the one. You can see we've added the solar panels all around it, hopefully making it able to last a bit longer. You can see we're not draining the batteries as far, so that is obviously a prop, and everything thumbs up to that. And we've got the science experiments as well. We've got everything's the same, just solar panels now. But it keeps diverging from the actual point that I want to keep it at. So as we go behind the Earth there as well. It's so weird not having to call it curb or curbing, just having to call it the Earth. It's so weird, and the moon, it's also so weird. Anyway, as you can see, we have drained the batteries again, so this will be another failed mission. I tried to go onto the flight computer here to make that adjust the course and make us go into orbit, but obviously that would still not fulfill the contract because then we wouldn't get the science experiment. And it really wouldn't work anyway, because when I've got no electronic charge, it still won't be able to control. Excuse me. Yeah, I'm quite tired. Even when we have got the flight computer and we haven't got no connections to the battery, it still won't work. That's just not how it works. As you can see here, yep, out of power, it won't be able to power us into orbit, unfortunately. So this is another failed mission, but also we can say the Russians made a lot of mistakes and had a lot of failures before they went to the moon. So this is our third launch, and we are losing quite a lot of funds doing this, unfortunately, which is far from optimal, but we're getting there. We're getting more reliable. The rocket is really good. And yeah, reliable, as I said. It's I like this rocket quite a lot. Probably could make it a bit, like, I probably didn't make the center stage about three or I have a diameter of 3 meters. I probably could have made that about the same as the boosters, so we could use the RD-107 engines, but that was just not to happen for some reason, because I think I wanted to, I don't know, I kind of had troubles or constraining enough delta V out of the having to make a rocket that looks like the R7 rocket, or similar to it, with the boosters and the center core being the same diameter as the boosters. I really just couldn't make that work, so I had to make it a 3 diameter center stage. I probably could have done it differently, but I also just like the way a 3 meter center looks. It just looks more massive and more bulky. And yeah, it has a lot more delta V, so actually this rocket is also able to put us into orbit, which is also a very big factor of this. It can put about I'll guess about a 2-ton probe into orbit around the moon, so that is a big rocket, obviously, but it's just not quite there yet. We will get there soon with the into orbit around the moon. I hope so, at least. I'm not able to tell because I want to spoil anything. Anyway, at this moment, after I have been rambling for a long time now about that stupid rocket, we get into orbit, and as you can see, we have a probe core up on the top this time, which doesn't drain the battery as much, because I thought that might be able to make the battery last longer. A bit of clever thinking there, as now we will also be able to get very close to the moon, I think. Yep, we can actually hit it if we want. We should probably have put it onto a collision course so we wouldn't get rid of that stage, which would have been nice, not just having some space junk around the moon and going to Earth all the time. So we'll have, so once, if we get like a space station or something, it'll eventually hit us. Anyway, we are now powering out to the moon in this third stage, I guess. Must be the third stage. Yeah, kind of tight on connections here with I think we're over Australia, Africa. I can't really see. I think that's Africa. It probably is. And there's not really too much or too many stations there where you can keep connection, unfortunately. So that was very tight. And as you can see now, after having done the TLI, we're actually getting to a collision course, which is not really what you want. So we just have to adjust it a little bit here. As we don't want to hit the moon, obviously. Getting a closest approach of about 360 meters, or kilometers, sorry. So that is more than acceptable. As we go onto the new probe core here, it has no control over itself, but it only drains about 1 watts an hour, I think. I can't really remember. A very, very small amount, at least. And we get onto the moon here, and we still are able to do all of the science bits, so we will fulfill the contract for once, and we'll get some really nice pictures for the thumbnail here in a minute. So yeah, this probe, the L3 probe, will be probably not the most remembered. The L1 will probably be the most remembered because that's the first probe we sent that made it to the moon, but the L3 is the one that actually succeeded in its mission and at going to the moon. So I don't know which one will be remembered. I'll probably remember L3 because I worked on all the lists, but you guys will probably obviously remember L1 as being the first one that made it to the moon. Anyway, this will also be the end of the episode, and yeah, thank you so much for watching. I'm very happy when you do it, and yeah, please subscribe as well, and I will see you for the next episode.